25, and clock is ticking. The clock is ticking.
So yes, I keep telling y'all never, ever, ever find another.
In the realm of local politics, where governance typically takes precedence over spectacle, Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, has turned her tenure into a dramatic saga reminiscent of a reality TV show. Rather than being recognized for meaningful achievements, Henyard has become a polarizing figure, self-proclaiming the title of super mayor while engaging in extravagant public stunts and making questionable financial decisions. Her administration has been plagued by scandals, financial instability, and a growing public outcry over her leadership. Residents of Dalton and neighboring Thornton Township have taken to social media to voice their frustration, as Henyard's controversial actions continue to escalate. Despite the mounting criticism, she remains undeterred, defending her decisions and dismissing calls for her resignation. One of the most shocking moments of Henyard's tenure was her announcement to seek a second term as mayor. In a display of bravado, she compared herself to former President Donald Trump and downplayed the numerous scandals surrounding her administration. The announcement sparked immediate backlash, with residents expressing their anger over what they perceive as a lack of leadership. Public gatherings in Dalton have turned chaotic, with citizens voicing their grievances and local trustees engaging in heated disputes over Henyard's mismanagement. Under Henyard's leadership, Dalton's financial health has severely deteriorated. The town now faces a staggering deficit of over $3 million, a sharp decline from its once healthy general fund balance of more than $5 million. Investigations, including one led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, have uncovered alarming financial irregularities, including a nearly $40,000 Amazon shopping spree funded by taxpayer dollars. Shockingly, $1,440 was spent in a single day on an online shopping binge, leaving residents baffled and demanding accountability. Henyard's refusal to address these financial discrepancies has only deepened public mistrust. Transparency has been sorely lacking, and her avoidance of direct answers has led many to question her fitness for office. Despite the growing outrage, she continues to embrace her super mayor persona, seemingly unfazed by the town's mounting financial crisis. As Henyard pushes forward with her re-election campaign, Dalton remains deeply divided. Her tenure has become synonymous with mismanagement, financial waste, and an ever-widening rift between her administration and the town's residents. What once held the promise of a successful political career has instead become a cautionary tale of squandered opportunities and public relations disasters. With every new revelation about her administration's financial troubles, Henyard's popularity has plummeted. Her once growing base of support has largely eroded, replaced by an overwhelming chorus of voices demanding her resignation. As the town sinks further into debt and chaos, it is increasingly evident that Henyard has become a symbol of frustration and division. Despite clear signs that change is needed, Henyard remains steadfast in her resolve. Her bid for a second term faces skepticism and resistance from nearly every corner of the community. While financial investigations into her administration continue and more revelations are likely to surface, the ultimate question remains: can Henyard salvage her political career, or will Dalton residents finally demand the change they have long been calling for? For now, the legacy of Tiffany Henyard's time in office is marked by controversy, financial mismanagement, and a deeply divided town. If she does run for re-election, Dalton will undoubtedly remember her tenure for all the wrong reasons.
New calls for a change at the top in South suburban Dalton.
Of course, we are talking about
Tiffany Henyard has defended the controversial expenditures made under her administration, claiming they were for the benefit of the community. However, a recent audit has raised serious concerns about her handling of public funds. The audit uncovered a troubling pattern of reckless spending, with high-value charges on the village's credit card becoming routine under Henyard's leadership. Many of these expenses were either poorly documented or entirely unjustified, leading critics to accuse her of financial mismanagement. Concerns over Henyard's approach to taxpayer money have only intensified as the town faces a growing financial crisis. During a heated village meeting, one frustrated resident demanded, "Where's the accountability? Our streets are collapsing, our schools are underfunded, and she's spending like it's monopoly money." This sentiment has been echoed by many residents and trustees, who are demanding answers about Henyard's spending habits and her priorities as mayor. But it's not just her financial decisions that have sparked outrage. Her leadership style has also come under fire. Henyard has been described as combative and chaotic, creating a toxic atmosphere at public meetings. What was once a forum for constructive dialogue has turned into a battleground, with residents and trustees openly clashing with her over her decisions. In one particularly tense meeting, Henyard was chastised for arriving late, further frustrating an already exasperated crowd. One angry participant stood up and declared, "We are not your subjects. We are your bosses. You will not treat us this way any longer." Rather than addressing the growing unrest, Henyard has dismissed the criticism, labeling it as mere contempt. She insists that her leadership is exactly what Dalton needs. "Whether you like it or not, I am your mayor," she defiantly proclaimed, making it clear that she intends to hold her ground despite mounting pressure. This response has only fueled public anger, with many viewing her defiance as a sign of disconnect from the people she was elected to serve. Her combative attitude, combined with her apparent disregard for the town's financial stability, has solidified her position as a deeply unpopular leader. As investigations into Dalton's finances continue and the town's fiscal crisis worsens, the question remains: how long can Henyard maintain her grip on power with escalating scandals and increasingly hostile public meetings? Her tenure appears to be heading toward an inevitable reckoning. Whether her defiant stance will allow her to weather the storm or ultimately force her out of office remains to be seen.
Both bias. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The controversy surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard extends beyond Village Hall, with her personal life adding another layer of turmoil to her already embattled political career. Henyard is currently facing an eviction lawsuit from her landlord, who claims that she and her boyfriend have failed to pay rent since August. According to the landlord, the couple owes thousands of dollars in back rent and even changed the locks to prevent him from accessing the property. This legal dispute has further exposed Henyard to public scrutiny, intensifying the criticism she already faces. Many question how someone earning over $300,000 a year from two public positions could find themselves in such financial trouble, especially when her role is meant to serve the interests of the community. Critics argue that Henyard's priorities seem more focused on maintaining her public image rather than addressing the pressing issues facing Dalton. Adding to the controversy, Henyard, who has branded herself as super mayor, has made a series of grandiose public appearances, including the installation of massive welcome banners featuring her own image. These displays have been widely criticized as selfing and tone-deaf, highlighting her preoccupation with her persona rather than tangible progress for Dalton. The situation escalated further when it was revealed that the vendor responsible for producing the banners had not been paid. When workers arrived to remove them, Henyard allegedly called the police and demanded charges be filed against them, including against her own village administrator. This move sparked further outrage, with residents questioning why the mayor seemed more concerned about her reputation than the town's well-being. Many in the community view the situation as embarrassing, with some pointing out how out of touch Henyard appears with the needs of Dalton's residents. One critic called it shameful, emphasizing that her fixation on her public image is overshadowing the real challenges facing the town. Her growing obsession with self-promotion, combined with financial mismanagement and personal controversies, has led many to doubt her ability to lead effectively. Instead of addressing the urgent issues impacting Dalton, Henyard appears to be doubling down on defiance, fueling further public dissatisfaction and outrage. With mounting criticism from both inside and outside her administration, it is becoming increasingly difficult to see how she can recover from the series of missteps that have defined her tenure.
Mayor Henyard to arrive. We will give another 5 minutes.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard delayed the meeting with no...
The political turmoil surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, shows no signs of easing, with controversy unfolding at every turn. While most local politicians focus on governance, Henyard's tenure has become a spectacle, often overshadowed by personal controversies, questionable decisions, and growing dissatisfaction among residents. This ongoing chaos has fueled widespread frustration, leaving Dalton at a critical juncture and raising questions about whether Henyard can hold on to power much longer. The latest controversy centers on Henyard's personal life, which has become as much a focal point as her political career. She is currently embroiled in an eviction lawsuit, with her landlord accusing her and her boyfriend of failing to pay rent since August. According to the landlord, the couple owes thousands of dollars in back rent and even changed the locks on the property to keep him out. This legal battle has placed Henyard's personal finances under scrutiny, leaving residents wondering how someone earning over $300,000 annually from two public positions could find themselves in such financial trouble. Despite these financial concerns, Henyard has continued to make bold moves to maintain her public image, many of which have been met with disdain. One of her more ostentatious gestures was the installation of large banners featuring her face throughout the town. These displays were criticized as selfing and tone-deaf, especially given Dalton's ongoing financial troubles. The situation worsened when it was revealed that the vendor responsible for creating the banners had not been paid. When workers began removing them, Henyard allegedly called the police and even pressed charges against her own village administrator, further fueling public outrage. "She cares more about her image than the well-being of our town," one resident noted, echoing the mounting frustration with Henyard's leadership. Her growing obsession with self-promotion has made her seem increasingly out of touch with the needs of Dalton, a town facing significant fiscal challenges. This pattern has been evident throughout her tenure, including her time as the supervisor of Thornton Township, where her leadership was similarly criticized as erratic and divisive. One of Henyard's most controversial proposals as township supervisor was a 100% homeowner tax rebate, which she called transformative. However, the plan was swiftly rejected by trustees and residents, who deemed it unrealistic and a transparent attempt to boost her reputation. Christopher Thiemet, a trustee at the time, criticized the proposal as fluff and accused Henyard of using it for self-promotion rather than addressing real financial concerns. This tendency to push through initiatives without proper backing or planning has carried over into her tenure as Dalton's mayor, reinforcing concerns about her judgment and ability to govern effectively. Beyond financial mismanagement and self-promotion, Henyard's increasingly erratic behavior and combative leadership style have sparked widespread concern. Instead of collaborating with trustees or engaging in constructive dialogue, she has repeatedly stood firm in her controversial decisions, often to the town's detriment. During a recent village meeting, for instance, residents were visibly frustrated when Henyard arrived late, further delaying an already contentious session. One resident stood up and declared, "We are not your subjects. We are your bosses, and you will not treat us this way any longer." Rather than acknowledging the criticism, Henyard dismissed it as contempt, insisting, "I am your mayor." Her dismissive response only deepened public anger, with many seeing it as yet another sign of her disconnect from the people she was elected to serve. Dalton faces growing financial instability, strained public services, and deteriorating infrastructure. Yet, Henyard continues to prioritize her public image, frequently resorting to social media rather than addressing the town's pressing issues. Many residents have criticized her frequent online broadcasts, arguing that they serve as little more than distractions. Instead of engaging in meaningful dialogue, Henyard has used her platform to accuse her detractors of corruption and conspiracy, often without providing evidence. "We need a mayor, not a social media celebrity," one frustrated resident remarked, highlighting Henyard's apparent preference for online attention over actual governance. While some find her broadcasts amusing, others see them as a symbol of her tendency to prioritize showmanship over substance. The contrast between her image-focused online presence and the mounting issues plaguing the town could not be more stark. Henyard's leadership style has further paralyzed Dalton's government, with key trustees refusing to attend meetings due to concerns over her management. Trustees such as Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle have effectively prevented the board from making essential decisions, including approving bill payments and renewing insurance policies, by withholding their participation. While Henyard has accused them of undermining the township, the trustees argue that they are advocating for transparency and fiscal responsibility. "We will not participate in the circus," Gonzalez remarked, emphasizing their commitment to responsible governance. Adding to Henyard's woes are growing legal challenges. Both Dalton and Thornton Township have received subpoenas as federal investigators begin scrutinizing the financial records and spending patterns of her administration. While Henyard insists she has nothing to hide, the investigations have only deepened suspicions of potential wrongdoing, further disillusioning residents already frustrated with her leadership. Public meetings have become increasingly tense, with residents openly expressing their frustrations and demanding her resignation. The one civil forum for dialogue has devolved into chaotic confrontations, with Henyard often refusing to address concerns or acknowledge the town's problems. With Henyard's approval ratings in freefall, calls for her resignation are growing louder. As the election season approaches, many Dalton residents are questioning whether it is time for change at the top. One of Henyard's harshest critics, Jason House, has entered the mayoral race, quickly gaining support with promises of accountability, transparency, and integrity. His campaign has resonated with residents tired of Henyard's scandals, financial mismanagement, and self-centered leadership. The growing momentum behind House's candidacy signals a shift in public sentiment, with many eager for a leader who will prioritize the needs of the community over personal gain. As the election draws closer, the vote is shaping up to be a referendum on Henyard's leadership and Dalton's future. Voters will have to decide whether to continue with a mayor whose tenure has been marked by scandals, poor decision-making, and a troubling lack of accountability, or whether to embrace a new leader who promises to restore fiscal responsibility and transparency to the town. The ongoing investigations into Henyard's administration, including federal scrutiny of Dalton's finances, have only added to the uncertainty. As revelations of questionable spending, financial mismanagement, and legal challenges continue to emerge, pressure on Henyard has intensified. Her refusal to address residents' concerns and apparent disregard for the town's future have left many wondering whether Dalton can survive under her leadership. With mounting public outcry, legal challenges, and a rising opposition candidate, Henyard faces an uphill battle to maintain her grip on power. It seems increasingly unlikely that she can weather the storm of scandals and dissatisfaction, especially as calls for her resignation grow. The upcoming election will ultimately determine whether Henyard can regain the trust of Dalton's residents or whether her tenure will end in a resounding defeat. As public sentiment turns against her and the town's future hangs in the balance, Henyard's time in office appears to be nearing its end. Only time will tell whether she can salvage her reputation or whether Dalton will usher in new leadership to address the challenges ahead. One thing is clear: the political storm in Dalton is far from over, and the town's future remains at a critical crossroad.